Hello everyone, it's been a long time since my last video. This is a quick video about my thoughts of E-M5 Mark III for street photography and why I didn't end up buying it. When E-M5 Mark III was announced, looking at the specs, I thought it's a perfect camera for travel and everyday street photography. I'm a fan of Olympus color and the E-M5 Mark III is lighter than many other Micro Four Thirds cameras, including my GX9, which is always welcomed. The plastic body doesn't bother me at all because plastics nowadays can be made as good as metal in terms of sturdiness and lifespan. Since the camera has weather sealing, so the build quality should meet my expectation. It's the digital part inside the body that can stop working over time. If you think about passing your cameras to your grandchildren, like how people recently promote a newly released camera with a hidden screen, a working digital part is far more important than whether the body is plastic or metal. Based on the initial research, I almost pulled the trigger of buying the camera, so I went to a shop and tried it out. Then I found a critical flaw for the way I would use the camera. If you have the LCD facing inwards and EVF with eye sensor, it takes a long time for the viewfinder to turn on after you look at it. With the same setting, if you have LCD facing outwards, it's much faster. I recorded a video here.
Yeah, the camera was...
I asked this question online and got quite few responses from probably Olympus fans saying they didn't have this issue with their E-M5 Mark III, and someone said there's a quick setting called Quick Sleep or something, so I went to another shop hoping the model I tried in the first shop was defective, and tried various combinations of settings including Quick Sleep, but I still got the same issue. There might be some other settings that I'm not aware of, and there are workarounds such like setting the EVF to be always on, or cover the eye sensor with your finger when you raise up the camera, but they are not fixing the problem, they are just hiding it. And someone on the forum said, why don't I just have the LCD facing outwards if the problem doesn't occur with LCD visible? Does anyone remember when Olympus released Pen F, being able to have the LCD facing inwards was one of the highlights from a few reviewers, saying it allows discrete shooting and prevents you from chimping, which means it's less likely that you always check the photo after shot. And the whole design is a masterpiece for street photography. At that time, I borrowed a Pen F from a friend and didn't end up buying it due to the same issue, and the E-M5 Mark III still has the issue, and this is after a few years. This isn't a big issue after all, but this is a bonus feature for certain street photographers. Consider the hidden screen on X Pro 3, and I clearly remember that when Pen F was released, being able to flip the screen inwards was one of the highlights from a few photographers. Not to mention that Leica even has models that do not have LCD. Now you wonder how the reviewers would have missed it if they praised it as a feature. Logically, you would expect they would have tested this particular feature, and technically, a person who shoots with LCD facing inwards would immediately find the lagging issue that I found. Isn't this a critical issue for street photography, especially if you want to capture the decisive moment? Then why haven't any of the reviewers mentioned this when they praise this feature for street photography? I don't want to guess, but the reason for me finding the issue is that I wasn't paid by anyone to review the camera. I've used E-M5 Mark I in the past, which was a great camera for street photography, and it's almost as light as the Mark III. So if you like Olympus color, the E-M5 Mark I is also a good option, especially the price for second-hand models is very cheap. Here are a few photos I took using the Mark I with 17mm f1.8 lens. I'm also reviewing the Ricoh GR Mark III at the moment. Stay tuned and see you soon.